Ever felt like an unseen force is steering your choices? It's as if every action, craving, and impulse originates from a part of your psyche that operates autonomously. A deep, ancient part that neither seeks approval nor provides justifications. It's always there, lurking in the shadows, even if unnoticed. Carl Jung named it the unconscious, but there's something even more unsettling hidden within it. It's a primal, silent power threading through your personal narrative like an unseen artery beneath the skin. You might not acknowledge it, nor confront it directly, but it's there manipulating your thoughts, responses, and fixations. I'm talking about sex. And no, not in terms of the physical act, pleasure, or mere lust. I mean sex as a symbol, as a psychic impulse, as the covert driver behind much of what you do, even when you vehemently deny its influence. Consider this. Why do you choose your attire carefully? Why are your words meticulously selected around certain individuals? Why the relentless pursuit for admiration, validation, acceptance? And why, in solitude, do you sense an unexplainable void? It all boils down to a primal need, older than your existence, to be desired, to belong, to be visible. If unacknowledged or unchallenged, this need will silently devour you from within. Jung's perspective on sex wasn't societal. He saw it as an archetype, a psychic force so potent and pervasive that unrecognized, it becomes your shadow, subtly dictating your choices, fears, relationships, even your dreams. It creates an illusion of freedom while subtly influencing every move you make. Jung's view of sex wasn't as a taboo, but as a key, a gateway to your true self. Yet, crossing this threshold demands confronting your most unsettling impulses, your darkest desires, your facades. Here's a harsh reality. Most individuals are not truly who they think they are. They are what their impulses have shaped them into. The more they deny this, the more enslaved they become. Imagine if everything you call your own, your ambitions, routines, connections, were colored by a misunderstood, mishandled, repressed sexual desire, festering in the unconscious. What if suppressing it doesn't fortify you, but instead makes you more malleable, weaker? What if your notions of morality, caution, or logic were merely sophisticated cages for something desperate to break free? We aren't discussing pornography or scandals here. We're delving into something far more perilous. How an entire society has constructed its values around the denial of a biological and psychic truth that persistently throbs beneath the fog. Neglecting the sexual impulse doesn't erase it. It morphs into anxiety, anger, dissatisfaction, addiction to control, approval, hollow achievements, fractured relationships, chronic solitude, perpetual discontent. And if you're oblivious to it, it's because you choose to be. For acknowledging it means admitting you're not in charge. That there's a part of you so deeply buried, you've forgotten its existence. What if your preferences, passions, fears are profoundly shaped by this impulse? That even your firmest beliefs might just be rationalizations to avoid confronting this uncomfortable truth? When Jung spoke of the anima and animus, it wasn't mere academic discourse. He spoke from witnessing how even the most structured, upright, brilliant individuals repeatedly fell into crises rooted in a disconnection from their profound sexual nature. Ever noticed how pivotal decisions in your life are laden with inexplicable tension? How a mere look can impact you more than an extensive dialogue? How desire, not love, but raw desire, can lead you to betray your values, your plans, even your own identity. That is the force we're discussing. And it can't be tamed with platitudes or repression. It demands understanding and integration, or it will consume you. This video isn't merely about sex. It's about true control, about the invisible thread that manipulates civilization, even as it claims to have transcended it. As you watch, you face two choices: continue believing in your freedom or start seeking truth. And be warned, the truth you uncover may not be pleasant, but it will be real, brutally real. Let's now delve into Carl Jung's insights, for comprehending his discoveries could liberate you and transform your entire perspective on life. Ready? This might be painful, but it's also enlightening. First, understand this. Your mind is not a singular entity. You are a complex amalgamation of multiple forces, desires, traumas, ideals, and personas. Jung referred to this as the self, a psychic totality seldom fully integrated. Among the most potent forces within this inner turmoil is what he termed libido. And this isn't the Freudian concept limited to genital impulses. Jung's vision was broader. For him, libido represented a universal psychic energy embodying both creative and destructive impulses, foundational to your personality's architecture. And yes, it encompasses sexuality, but it's about more than just sex. It's about transformation. This is where many get lost. They believe that denying sex means controlling it, that repressing it means overcoming it, that concealing it equates to maturity. But in truth, they fragment, splitting their identity, divorcing what they feel from what they display. This division renders them mere puppets of their own making. What you repress doesn't vanish. It retreats into the shadows, and from there it starts to exert influence, silently yet increasingly potent. Ever wondered why you repeat the same mistakes in relationships? Why you attract similar people, encounter recurrent conflicts, experience consistent disappointments? It's not random. It's an unconscious repetition. It's libido operating from the shadows, striving to address unresolved issues, seeking balance amidst chaos. Jung repeatedly warned that what remains unconscious dictates your fate, including your sexual impulses. What you fail to understand about yourself ends up controlling you. What you deny within yourself ends up possessing you. Now focus, because this is crucial. Repressed sexual desire doesn't merely affect your intimate life. It seeps into your spirituality, your creativity, even your sense of purpose. Why? Because when that energy isn't consciously directed, it distorts. It morphs into an obsession for control, a compulsion to achieve uncomprehended goals, a desperate quest for recognition, a chronic need for validation. Look around, and you'll see everyone chasing something: success, fame, a partner, wealth, power. But often, at the core of all these pursuits is the same void, a stark disconnection from their authentic sexual dimension. And this isn't a moral judgment or a religious condemnation. It's a clinical observation. Jung observed this in countless patients, educated, sophisticated, conscious individuals, yet internally fractured, lost, powerless against a force they couldn't name. Many sought spiritual, philosophical, existential remedies, and Jung, with unnerving clarity, directed them to confront precisely what they had been avoiding for years: the desires they had suppressed. Because desire, when unacknowledged, becomes distorted. It infiltrates your thoughts, sneaks into your decisions, and gradually transforms you into a character, a persona, a mask. Here's another harsh truth few are willing to accept. Most people are not truly themselves. They are a controlled, edited, meticulously crafted version designed to avoid rejection, meet expectations, maintain order. But beneath that persona, the unconscious burns fiercely, and one of its most intense flames is eros, attraction, magnetism, energy seeking connection, creation, expansion. And what happens when that's suppressed for years? It begins to sabotage you in your work, in your relationships, in your mental health. You cannot silence such a profound part of your being without consequences. Jung made it clear: all unexpressed energy manifests as neurosis. And today, it's evident everywhere. Brilliant individuals, talented, resourceful people, stuck in cycles of anxiety, emotional dependency, existential voids. And no one dares to pinpoint the real cause: a brutal disconnection from sexual energy, understood not as something crude, but as something fundamental. Here's yet another uncomfortable truth. Sexual energy isn't solely for pleasure. It's a tool for self-discovery, for internal transformation. It's the raw material for reconstructing yourself, if you know how to utilize it. The problem is, no one teaches us this. They instruct us to fear it, to conceal it, to suppress it. Consequently, entire generations learn to live crippled, with half of their psyche dormant, with a desire that doesn't vanish, but merely disguises itself. It masquerades as ambition, as romanticism, as false spirituality, but it remains, crying out for integration. And now, I pose a question you can't lightly dismiss. How many of your most crucial decisions were driven by the desire to be desired? How often have you transformed yourself into what you believed would attract attention, even if it distanced you from your true self? How many times have you sacrificed your authenticity for a moment of validation? If you dare to answer these questions truthfully, you'll uncover something disturbing. Your life, in many respects, isn't genuinely yours. It's governed by unrecognized desires, by what Jung termed the collective unconscious, which in this context acts as a cultural sexual mold, a set of images, roles, and your own suppression that has enslaved you. And facing this reality isn't easy, especially in a culture that glorifies victimhood, that celebrates pain not as a phase, but as an identity. Overcoming this requires strength. It necessitates symbolically dying, abandoning the version of yourself constructed to please, to fit in, to conform. And this process is painful, for some wounds can't be healed without first being torn open. And your relationship with desire is one such wound. Now, imagine if you had been aware of all this earlier. Suppose you had been taught from childhood that your sexual energy wasn't an issue but a guide, that you didn't need to hide your eros, but needed to listen to it, channel it, transform it into art, action, meaning. What kind of person would you be now? What life would you be leading? You can't alter the past, but from this moment forward, you can choose whether to continue ignoring this part of yourself or allow it to transform you. And the most remarkable aspect is that once you integrate your eros, it no longer dominates you. You no longer need to obsess over validation, engage in power struggles, or remain trapped in cycles of relational anxiety. Because when eros is conscious, it becomes light. A bright light, indeed, sometimes uncomfortable, but also healing, creative, expansive. A light that not only reveals who you are, but also who you could become. So, the next time you experience an unexplained attraction, overwhelmed by a desire you can't comprehend, paralyzed by an image, a person, or a sensation, don't flee. Don't moralize it. Don't disguise it. Ask yourself, what part of me is speaking right now? What needs to be acknowledged? What's striving to be freed? Perhaps that desire isn't the issue. Perhaps it's the gateway. And will you dare to open it? Just when you believe you've grasped it all, the final snare appears. The most sophisticated one. The trap that has ensnared millions unknowingly. Because once you make your eros conscious, once you begin to comprehend its power and start integrating it, the spiritual ego emerges. That inner voice claiming you've transcended desire, that it no longer governs you. But beware, that too is an illusion, another mask. Because eros isn't transcended, it's inhabited. It's not overcome, it's respected. And if you believe you're above it, you still don't fully understand it. This is where things become even more nuanced, because the real challenge isn't just awakening to desire. It's walking alongside it without turning it into an identity, without clinging to it, without idolizing it, without using it as a new facade. It's recognizing that eros isn't an adversary nor a deity. It's a part of you, a fragment of the fire that burns within you. And like all fire, it can illuminate or it can consume you. The difference lies in whether you acknowledge it or deny it. Look around. Everyone seems to be chasing something. Money, fame, the perfect physique, the ideal partner. But what if all that were merely an unconscious ritual to reconnect with a lost eros? What if the true journey wasn't about accumulating more, but about delving within and discovering which part of you was silenced when you started behaving properly? Society desires your domestication. It wants you predictable. It wants you disconnected from your desire because it knows that a person reconciled with their eros can't be manipulated. They don't buy into empty narratives. They don't need to belong to any tribe to feel complete. They are free, and that's intimidating, because a free person is dangerous, not because they cause harm, but because they inspire, because their very presence exposes how dormant everyone else is. And now we are here, you and I, at the end of this journey, or at the beginning, depending on your perspective. Because what you've heard today aren't answers. They are catalysts, fissures, questions that may haunt you for days. And that's okay. That's a sign that something within has shifted, that what's been suppressed is starting to find a name, a shape, a voice. Perhaps now you'll begin to notice things. Maybe you'll recall moments when you denied your desire out of fear. Maybe you'll start recognizing patterns. Maybe you won't be able to view certain people or yourself in the same way anymore. And that, trust me, is a positive sign, because only what is confronted with brutal honesty can be transformed. But before you leave, I ask you to do something. If you've made it this far, it's not by chance. Comment below with this phrase: "My shadow no longer frightens me." Don't do it for me. Do it for yourself, because writing it, declaring it, acknowledging it aloud is an act of empowerment. It's the initial step to cease living in denial and start living in truth. And if this video has stirred something deep within you, if it has dislodged even a pebble from the wall you've built around your desire, subscribe. Because this channel isn't here to entertain you. It's here to challenge you, to jolt you, to reveal what no one else wants you to see. We aren't here to merely decorate the surface. We're here to shatter it. So follow me if you have the bravery to confront what others conceal. If you're weary of superficial explanations. If you seek to truly understand how your mind operates. And above all, if you're prepared to stop deceiving yourself. And now, I take my leave. But before I go, listen closely. Turn off the screen. Close your eyes. And silently ask yourself, what part of you have you been denying all this time? Take a deep breath and listen to what the silence tells you. Because sometimes what you don't hear is what screams the loudest. See you in the next video, or perhaps in your shadow. End.